Welcome to the Depth Dive. Today, we're really getting into something I think a lot of people wonder about. How can you actually, dramatically improve your English level in just a few months? So, our goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is to unpack a really practical way forward. No gimmicks, just stuff that works. We're talking about maybe getting you from that A2 level, you know, basic stuff, simple situations up to a solid B1, or maybe even from B1 to B2, where you're feeling, well, pretty comfortable, an independent speaker. So, yeah, if you've felt kind of stuck or you just really want to speed things up, this is definitely for you.
And it's really interesting, maybe even a bit surprising from the material we looked at. It kind of flips the usual advice around right from the start. It basically
Yeah.
says your mindset. It's not just a nice to have. It suggests it's actually more critical for making quick progress than, say, your grammar textbook.
Yeah, it's less about waiting until you feel motivated. The big idea is that consistency, just showing up, that's the real starting point for getting ahead quickly. That really is counterintuitive, isn't it? This idea that consistency actually builds the motivation, not the other way around. Which, I mean, for a lot of us, that sounds almost too simple. Do the sources dig into why that works so well, beyond just, putting in the hours? Because the insights we found really hammer this home with some clear numbers. Like imagine just 30 minutes a day. Focused practice. If you keep that up for 90 days, well, that adds up. That's 45 hours of dedicated study. And the material seems pretty convinced that if you use those hours smartly, that's enough for a big jump, like A2 to B1 or B1 to B2. So what does this really mean for someone wanting that leap?
That's a great question. And what the research suggests is it's not just the total time, it's the regularity, the daily habit. So connecting this to the bigger picture, it means really embracing this idea. Don't study hard just once a week. Instead, study smart every single day. These consistent, smaller chunks, they're just way more effective than those long, infrequent sessions where you just burn out.
Yeah.
And it fits perfectly if you want quick but solid knowledge, because it taps into how our brains actually form habits and lock in information. The message is really clear. Fluency isn't some kind of magic talent you're born with. No, it's a direct result of consistent, focused action. You build it.
Okay, so mindset is about that daily consistency. Got it. Let's get down to the brass tacks then. What does that daily SMART study actually look like on the ground? The info we've gathered, it lays out a really clear 30-minute plan, a power plan. And it's cleverly broken down right. 3 focused 10-minute blocks. They combine supposedly into a full daily practice that doesn't eat up your whole day but makes every minute count.
Exactly. This is where you get the concrete steps. What do you do in those 10-minute slots? The material gives a great blueprint. So the first 10 minutes, that's listening and shadowing. You basically pick a short YouTube clip or maybe a podcast segment that's around your level. And it's not just listening passively. No, you're actively trying to copy the speaker, their rhythm, their intonation, how fast they talk. The process is pretty simple. Listen to a little bit, maybe the phrase or sentence. Pause it. Then you repeat it out loud. Try to sound as much like the native speaker as you can. This really works on your pronunciation, getting the natural flow, and honestly, it builds confidence for speaking. Okay, then the next 10 minutes are for vocabulary and context. The key here isn't just memorizing random words off a list. That doesn't stick very well. Instead, you pick maybe 5 to 10 new words each day. And this is crucial. You learn them inside real phrases or bits of dialogue. You could use flashcard apps. Things like Anki or Quizlet are mentioned. But the focus has got to be on whole sentences or common phrases, not just single words floating in space. That helps you understand how words actually get used, makes them easier to remember, and, importantly, easier to use yourself. And then the final 10 minutes are for speaking or writing, your choice. For speaking, a really good technique is just to record yourself. Talk about your day, what you did, maybe your plans. Don't stress about being perfect, just, speak. Get the words flowing. Or if you prefer writing, write a short paragraph, maybe about something that happened or your opinion on something. Then you need to correct it. You can use an online tool, sure, but getting feedback from a tutor or a more advanced speaker is even better. Oh, and there's a bonus tip. Try to find a speaking partner, maybe once or twice a week. That adds that real-time, back-and-forth practice.
Right, so we've got these pieces. Shadowing, vocabulary and context, and then active output, speaking or writing. And this is where it all comes together, isn't it? What the insights seem to be saying is, look, having English on in the background, music or TV, that's okay. It helps a bit with exposure. But the sources are super clear. It's the active stuff, the deliberate practice we just talked about that really gets you fluent. That's how you get those aha moments, right? When you suddenly realize, hey, I understood that movie scene, or I actually held that conversation. Tangible progress. Okay, so we've covered the daily grind, those small, powerful actions. But what about zooming out? The bigger picture. Our sources don't just leave you with a daily to-do list. They actually map out a strategy for the whole 3 months. It shows how these little daily efforts build up into something, well, pretty transformative, like a focused training camp just for your English.
Yeah, exactly. The material suggests a clear progression, a phased approach over those 3 months. So, month one, it's really all about input and confidence. The main focus is hammering that daily listening and shadowing. And the key insight here is don't get too hung up on mistakes at this stage. Seriously, just focus on building that overall fluency, getting used to the sounds, the rhythm. Just absorb, absorb, absorb. Then, month two, you consciously shift gears into more output practice. This is where you really ramp up the speaking and writing in your routine. You're pushed to maybe tell short stories, record yourself speaking more freely, join conversations, even if it's just practicing talking to yourself or, the mirror. It sounds silly, but it works. It's about going from just taking language in to actively producing it yourself. And then by month three, the idea is to challenge yourself, push the boundaries a bit. Try watching stuff without any subtitles. Maybe join some live online discussions if you can. Submit longer pieces of writing for feedback. Or even, try a mock English test to see where you stand formally. This last month, it's about really cementing those skills under a bit more pressure, proving to yourself how far you've come.
And speaking of proving it, there's that really cool progress tracking idea the insights mention. Recording a short video, just you speaking English on day 1, and then doing the exact same thing on day 90. Comparing those two videos, your fluency, your pronunciation, the words you're using, that gives you such concrete, undeniable proof of your improvement. It's hard to feel stuck when you can literally see the difference, right?
Yeah, but let's be real for a second. This whole process, it isn't always going to feel easy.
Yeah.
And the material we look through, it acknowledges that. Motivation comes and goes. That's just human. There will absolutely be days when you feel like packing it in, when it just feels like a total chore. And that's okay. That's normal. But the core message, it just keeps coming back. Fluency isn't magic. It's a result. If you consistently show up day after day, even if it's just for 15 or 30 minutes, the results will follow. It really is about building the habit, not relying on fleeting moments of inspiration.
It's easy to get bogged down in the work part of learning a language. But something else these insights highlight, which I think is really encouraging, is that the more you do this, the more you practice consistently, the more fun it actually becomes. Just picture it, right? Understanding movies easily, chatting confidently, connecting with new people, maybe even inspiring someone else to start learning too. That's the real payoff, that deep, satisfying feeling. That's the return on investment. So as we wrap up this deep dive, here's the challenge that our sources basically lay down for you listening right now. First, choose a 3-month goal for your English. What do you want to achieve? Second, record yourself speaking English today. Just do it. Short, imperfect, whatever. Get that baseline. And third, create that 30-minute daily routine based on what we talked about and commit to it. Really commit. The promise we found in the material is pretty straightforward. You stick with this for 90 days, your English level will change. This isn't just wishful thinking, it's a plan. And honestly, you absolutely can do this.
Definitely. And maybe just one last thing to chew on as you think about all this. Consider how this whole principle, consistent, focused practice broken down into specific parts could work elsewhere. Not just for language, but for mastering any new skill, any area of knowledge you want to get good at in your life. It's a powerful framework.